guys, it's Jordan. What the fuck is up? I'm finally back with a story time. I had to take a break from doing story times just to get my mind right. I need to get my mind right, and I'm not like in my room. I'm downstairs, so I know this might be like new scenery. What the fuck is that? New scenery for you guys, but yeah. This is gonna be the story about my first car that I ever bought. Not the car I have now, which is Bertha. Bertha's doing me good. Let's pray she continues to do that. But this is a story about the first car I ever got in my life. So this car was like a fucking 2006 Volkswagen Passat. It was dark blue. Ugh, I loved her for the very short time that I had her. Okay, so this literally took place last summer. So summer 2020. I want to say like July, summer 2020. So I have been looking for a car for a while, and I was saving up. I was working at Taco Bell, so it's not like I was like getting to save up like $1,000 each month. Like it would literally be like $100 here and there, $50 here and there. So like I have been saving up for like a minute for this car. Like not this car, but just for a car specifically. So I was always looking, and my mom and my sisters would always tell me like, don't get a car unless you think you're ready. Like, are you sure that you're ready? And I'd be like, I'm ready. Like, I just want to get a car. I didn't even have like a license or a permit. I don't even know like if I would be able to pay my own fucking car insurance. Like I definitely wasn't ready for a car. I think I just wanted a car to do whatever I wanted in, but I definitely like wasn't ready for a car. I knew nothing about cars, and you'll see that in the story that I literally knew absolutely nothing about cars. Absolutely nothing. So one day I was scrolling on OfferUp and I seen this blue Volkswagen Passat, and I was like this car is super cute. It didn't have like a lot of miles on it, and the lady was like, oh, all that's wrong with it is the water pump. I just want to get rid of this. And now if there's something wrong with the car, just please don't buy it, please. But like I was like, oh my god, like it's just like one thing, like that should be like such the easiest fix. If you didn't know, Volkswagens are German made, so the parts for it have to be imported from Germany. So it's not really cheap to fix anything on that fucking car, but I didn't know that. So I was like, okay, you know what? This is the car that I want. I think literally I had like asked my sister to come with me to the lady's house to see the car. I hadn't talked to either of my parents about it at all. Like at all. Sorry. I hadn't talked to either of my parents about it. And I hit my mom's car in this car too. Like, I was just sitting in the car, but whatever. So, we go to the lady's house. Like, this is just, like, random. We go to the lady's house. She's like, oh, yeah, like, I'm going to sell this car to you for super cheap. But she wouldn't let me test drive it. And now, looking back, do not buy a car that you can't even fucking test drive. I literally couldn't even test drive the fucking car. So, I was like, oh, like, okay, like, just that one thing's wrong with this. She's like, yeah. And then she's like, let me show you. And she opened the water pump or whatever the fuck that part was. I don't even know. And poured water. And she's like, watch, it's going to leak down and, like, start going on the floor. And it did. Why would she even show me that? I don't know. Why I would still buy the car? I don't fucking know. But I did. So I was like, oh, like, that should be such an easy fix. She's like, yeah, like, it'll probably be, like, a few $100. And I was like, oh, like, that's fine. I have that, like, whatever. So I ended up buying the car. And it was, like, overheating literally on the way home. Like, it was overheating on the way home. And I think I lived probably, like, maximum 10 minutes away from this lady. So it starts overheating on the way home. And I'm like, oh, well, that must be from the water pump. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know if I just got scammed or if I'm just an idiot. Because she literally sold me a lemon in my face. And I was just like... So, it starts overheating on the way home. So, I, like, go on Facebook and I'm, like, searching for mechanics. So, I was like, I don't want to take it to a shop. Like, that'll be so much money. So, I found this mechanic and he's like, oh, yeah, just buy the parts and I'll fix whatever. And he's fixing that. I'll come to your house and I'll check it out, whatever. So, he came to my house and he was super weird. He was super fucking weird. Like... sizing me up and down, like, oh, like, do you want me to, like, drive the car around? I'm like, no, do you just want to, like, look under the hood? He didn't even know, like, the way that a Volkswagen is, there's, like, a fucking shell over everything under the thing. He didn't even know how to open the shell. Like, there's a literal shell over everything that's under the hood, except for, like, the water pump and a few other things. So I was just like, I don't know how the fuck it works, but he was just, like, looking at it. He's like... You said it was the water pump? I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, definitely a water pump. Like, he didn't even know what the fuck he was talking about. But I was just like, okay. Like, I was just like, okay. He literally could have told me I need to replace every door. I need to replace the steering wheel. And I would have been like, okay. I would have said, okay. You can replace everything. Like, I don't know. So, he's like, oh, I'll charge you like $500 to do it. You just got to get the parts. So the parts itself, I don't remember how much the parts itself were, but they weren't super expensive, but it was still like. So I had dropped the car off at his house one day with my sister, and she took me back home. I'm so tired. And she had dropped me back off at home. And then like 2 days later, he's like, oh yeah, the car is ready to be picked up. Whatever. So my sister he's like, I will come get you. Because I was like, oh, well, I don't want to drive the car home because I didn't have a license. So he's like, well, I'll pick you and your sister up and you guys can just drive your car home. So I got in some random like man's car. Not my best days. Not my better judgment. Okay. And I should have known from the second when I got in his car and it was making the world's clunkiest clunks in the world. I was like, I should have known there's no fucking way he knows how to fix cars if his shit is sounding like this. He's like, yeah, I got a BMW. No, you have a PMW because this shit is about to blow up. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So he, like, his car's clunking us to his house or whatever. I'm just sitting in the car like, oh my God. And my sister was like, so uncomfortable. But we go back to the house, and he was like, oh, he told me to bring oil for an oil change. So I bought like 1 fucking quart of oil. He's like, you need like 5 quarts. Okay, well, you didn't tell me that. Clearly, I don't fix cars. I was like, oh, okay, well, then you just don't have to do the oil change. I paid him the fucking $500 just to get in the car and look in the back seat and see one of the boxes that had the pieces in it for the car. So I'm like, what the fuck did he fix? And I was just like, I just didn't even know. I just didn't even know. But the check engine light went off, so I'm like, okay, well, he must have did something. Looking back now, I know there's ways to just turn the check engine light off, and that's probably all he fucking did was turn the check engine light off. But, so a few days later, I take it to go to smog. It passes the smog. They give me this paper that's like, all this shit on it needs to be fixed. And I think they were like, because they'll pass you, but they give like recommendations of things that you should fix on your car. And I think the total recommendation like totaled out to like $2,200. And I was like, well, it passed the smog, so I don't really give a fuck. So I'm like clunking down the street with my clunker, my little Volkswagen clunker. And then I remember the next day, I took my sister with me to go get a car wash in the car. Why the fuck did we get to the car wash? It was a car wash at a gas station. Why, when I was pulling out of the parking space to go into the car wash, because you had to go in and pay, did my car just stop and like not start back up? And I was just sitting there like, and I'm like about to freak out. And my sister's like, calm down, calm down, calm down. Let's just try it again. So I tried again and it starts back up. But I'm like, that is so weird. So then I had got sick. I had got like sick with something like a cold. Looking back, it might have been COVID. But I had got a really bad cold. So I didn't drive for like 4 days. Why, when I finally go to drive my car, it was not turning on. And it wasn't like the last time. Like, it was not turning on at all. Like, at all. So I had a key stuck in. So I was like, it's like wasn't a turning key. It was literally like the weirdest thing ever. Like, you just stuck it in. So I was like, oh, maybe the key fob died. So I went to AutoZone and I got like the lithium battery, I think that's what it's called, for the key. So like the key could like not be dead anymore. That did not work either. So I'm like, well, this piece of fucking shit just clunked on me. I put so much money into that fucking car. Like, I was just so angry. I was so angry. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know what, like, the fuck I'm supposed to do. I don't know how to fix cars. So I ended up just being like, okay, well, I just need to, like, sell this fucking car. Like, I just need to sell this car. Like, I didn't know what to do. So I ended up putting it on OfferUp for, like, fucking $600, which is not even half of, like, what I paid for and the money I put into it put together. But I was just like, whatever. What the fuck ever. And then when I was calling the lady, because my dad was like, oh, you need a bill of sale to sell the car. Because I hadn't signed the title, but I had put a J. But I didn't fully sign the title. But my dad's like, get a bill of sale from the lady you bought it from. So I called the lady to tell her, like, hey, I need to get the bill of sale. I can go get it and just come by and sign it. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. We went to the DMV and got a notarized paper. And I'm like, ma'am, I don't know what you're talking about. We did not go to the DMV at all. She's like, I sold you the Mazda, right? And I'm like, no, you sold me the Volkswagen Passat. And she's like, oh, sorry, sweetie. I just sold this guy a Mazda, and he's like crazy. So my conclusion was, this bitch sells people lemons for a living. She sells people lemons for a living. That's what my conclusion for that was. And I'm just thinking like, bitch. And I think her name was Tiffany. So Tiffany, you're really fucked up because I really had to save for quite a while to be able to buy that little stupid piece of shit you sold me. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tiffany. But yeah, so I'm like, this lady, like, sells people used fucked up cars for a living. Like, she is crazy. So she's like, you don't need a bill of sale, sweetie, if you didn't sign, like, the title. Just give the guy the title, did a blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I had this guy, he's a sweet, like, mechanic guy. He's like, what's wrong with the car? I was like, I don't know. I really just don't want it anymore. It literally won't turn on. He's like, okay, well, how much are you willing to sell it for? And I had put it on offer for $600. I was like, I'll sell it to you for $500. Can you please just get out of my driveway? So I sold him the car for $500. I don't know what the fuck he did with it. He probably fixed it up and flipped it. Good for you, Gary. That was his name. Good for you, Gary. But it was really just the worst fucking car experience I've ever had. And I was like depressed about it for months because I had like literally wasted so much of my money. And like, I don't have like silver spoon type shit. So it's like, I wasted my own money. Like, nobody helped me at all. I think I was more frustrated because like, it was my money and I worked so hard to get it just to like blow it basically and for it to be my own fault. But I'm still gonna blame Tiffany because bitch, fuck you. You knew that car was a piece of shit. Fuck you. And I know who your daughter is. And if somebody did that to your daughter, you would be so fucking mad, Tiffany, wouldn't you? But what the fuck ever. So yeah, that was the story of when I got like kind of scammed buying my first car, the worst fucking car experience I've ever had in my life. And what not to do when you buy your first car. I feel like there was a lot of do nots in this story. A lot of do fucking nots. But yeah, let me know if you guys like this story time. I really miss doing the story time, so I just had to get my mind right. Okay, bitch. I was really stressed. But yeah, bye guys.